Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, your favorite YouTube harpy. Huge Star Trek fan, cannot stand the current state of Star Trek. With the writing, the subpar quality, and you know what, guess what? Some of the writers can't either, especially if they're censored to the point where they just walk out the door, right? This is an update on the Walter Mosley situation where he was relaying an anecdote and some little snowflake person tattled to HR because he used a word in his anecdote, probably expressing disgust with the treatment of some people by a certain police officer in his story, to I don't know, make a point to... So yes, this little snowflake tattle to HR. Well, it's been snowballing. There's a few other celebrities who have weighed in on this. First up's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Next up, you saw him on the thumbnail, David Allen Grier does weigh in on this. And that'll be after we hear what Mr. Jabbar says, or Mr. Abdul-Jabbar says. Sports ball guy, airline pilot, all-around good guy. You know him, you love him. He's also worked in Hollywood as a writer. So, yeah, then he wrote this to The Hollywood Reporter today. I have to read this. The Hollywood Reporter columnist and TV writer defends Walter Mosley's decision to quit the Star Trek Discovery writers' room after CBS admonished him for uttering the racial slur in the context of storytelling. Walter Mosley's recent New York Times article, Why I Quit the Writer's Room, detailing his contentious interaction with the HR department of a major entertainment studio that led to his quitting, should be required reading for every American because it addresses what constitutes free speech in the workplace, in school arts, and in the arts. To summarize, Mosley was telling a personal anecdote in the writer's room of CBS's Star Trek Discovery. I just told a story about a cop who explained to me on the streets of Los Angeles that he stopped all of that word in you know what, we're going to censor the other racial slur too, in predominantly Irish neighborhoods apparently. See, I'm so not ist at all. I thought they meant like rice patties, and there was an Asian slur. So, double dumb on me, right? Or should I say double dumbass on me? This, seriously, and why wasn't anybody upset about the other slur, right? And all, what's in the other neighborhoods, because they were usually up to no good, according to his anecdote. An unidentified writer in the room complained to Human Resources about his use of the N-word, and HR admonished Mosley not to say the word again. He could write it in a script, they explained, but not say it aloud. Mosley's response was to quit the show. See, now, here's the thing. None of the Star Trek producers called him. This gentleman was professional enough not to say which network and which show he was working on, but they went right to just to make matters even worse, they admitted it was them by saying, oh yes, he did work here, he did quit. Why would you say that? Why would you go to the Hollywood Reporter and admit that somebody quit your show because you guys are a bunch of dumbasses? I mean, I guess it just confirms that they're a bunch of dumbasses, right? That's what it feels like to me. That's my opinion on it. I can't prove that they're a bunch of dumbasses, but I can certainly prove they don't write good television over there. Or what's allowed to be shown and what's edited down to is not. There's all kinds of crazy in that previous paragraph. The writer who was offended should have expressed their discomfort directly to Mosley so they could have a mature discussion. The offended writer should have asked themselves a few questions about whether or not taking offense was a legitimate response to a black man telling a story that happened to him and quoting the dialogue used. Right? It's like they're a bunch of pussies over there or something. Clearly, the story has much more visceral impact. Which was Mosley's point. When you hear the actual word being spoken so cavalierly by a police officer, and why was there no offense to the derogatory Patty? Finally, one has to question the ability of that writer to produce complex and layered characters and themes if they lack the sophistication to understand all that. Where's my ding? Where's my ding? Ding, 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 ding. You are exactly right. You are exactly right. Because clearly these people that work on Star Trek Discovery do not have the intellect to understand context. Right? They don't have the ability to understand why he was telling the story. And in my opinion, you had a little clique of young little writers who come out of college or wherever they come out of, or Twitter or Tumblr or wherever, and they have their little clique of, oh, you can't say this, or this, or this, or this, and this is offensive, and this is exactly what we saw at Star Trek Las Vegas, by the way, where the younger cast members, or some of the cast on the newer show who are part of this clique, have to go around acting like everybody who is not them is less than, is being offensive, and excuse me, I personally think that they were intimidated by the intelligence of Mr. Mosley and did not want, and they probably didn't include him in their clique. He probably didn't put up their crap and didn't conform to their little, we're offended, you can't say that, you can't do that, and we're all the best because we're the bestest ever, and we were never diverse until us because we are your best and you're all old. And there's clearly a lack of respect for people over 30 and over 40 in Hollywood, clearly, because they all think and they all feel like, oh, you know, I should really preface that, which, no, it's more like people over 60, it seems. There's a clear disrespect, because once you hit that certain age, that certain generational gap, right? Then you've got, oh, the young people all conform to this ideal, and the old people all conform to this ideal, and they're all a bunch of bigots and horrible, right? And that's what it feels like to me, you know, that they were threatened, intimidated, jealous, probably, certainly jealous that he's smarter than them. So, of course, they're going to go and tattle, because they don't have the balls to just say, hey, you can't really say that word around me. Because you know why? Because he probably would have challenged them, and they would not have won in a battle of wits. I mean, they can't win in a battle of wits against their own show, right? They can't even write something logical. Like, sorry, I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to. You know it's coming. You know it's coming.
I like science.
I like money. Yeah.
I like science.
Well, we don't need the whole I like science and all that. That is Star Trek now. I like science. That's the power of math, people. That's cringe, and that's anti-intellectual garbage. It's garbled. It's gobbledygook. I'm trying to say 5 words all at once, because that's what Star Trek is. They throw a bunch of crap on the screen all at once, so you forget what you're saying. HR's response is predictable because their language policy, like so many other rules in the workplace and schools, is based on a one-size-fits-all condom of policies. Zero tolerance. Zero tolerance sounds like a strict ethical stance, but it's really a lazy position created so institutions can appear culturally sensitive while really just trying to legally cover their asses. Oh yeah, I agree with that. However, zero tolerance in anything related to free speech is antithetical to democracy and is destructive to promoting open discussions about important issues. What makes the American judicial system the foundation of our democracy is the realization that actions cannot be judged outside of context. We don't judge just the action, we weigh the circumstances, the intent, and any other factors that illuminate the cause of the action. Exactly. This is why we have manslaughter for people who accidentally kill someone. Right? And that's what we really, really need. We need some sort of thing where people can be corrected if they say something, insensitive, without people jumping to "you're a racist." Right? Without jumping to that sort of language. Because 9 times out of 10, people don't mean anything. If somebody says something that might be an improper term, or that, because the terms change. The terms have changed how many times since I've been alive in the past, century. If somebody might use an outdated term, they don't mean any harm. They don't mean any disrespect. You know, if somebody uses the term midget for a little person or short person or somebody with dwarfism or something, they may not understand that's offensive. They might think that's the correct term. They aren't trying to, and I'm probably going to get flagged on this video because I'm trying to explain, you know, that people's intent, you know, the context of their character. Gee, somebody said that. Who was that? Oh, yeah, a guy in the 60s, right? Oh, but I'm not allowed to quote anybody who doesn't look like me because they don't represent me. I'm sorry, I thought people like Dr. King spoke for everybody. But, you know, equality, right? Right, people, right, people. You guys know, that's why you're here. Because the Star Trek writers would not sit here and watch this video for 10 minutes in. They would come here, they'll flag it, and then they'll go away. Because they're a bunch of pussies over there, except for Mr. Mosley. And what I mean by the Star Trek writers, I mean their little cult clique of them. You know, the ones that get offended by this gentleman. The most important context in this situation was that a major literary talent who has written dozens of critically acclaimed best-selling novels was in a writer's room telling a story to other writers that reflected social conflict, cultural insensitivity, injustice, and an unreliable narrator. The cop, or unreliable narrator, the cop, unaware of how his prejudice contributed to the problem. What should have been a moment of insight instead reflects the very point that Mosley's story expressed. Except in this case, HR is the unreliable narrator contributing to the problem. Right. Well, they're just doing their little thing because they'll get their little asses fired for being stupid, right? Because they're technically going with company policy. Right, and see, if I were HR, I would have sat them both down. I would have sat the person who complained down and explained to them why they had to come to HR over this. And I would have had a discussion. But no, you can't, because it's this little anonymity thing where you can go and tattle behind somebody's back and you have no consequences for it. You can just go and tattle like a little snitch that you are. Sometimes I gotta bring out the writing crop. Sorry, it just gets me so livid. The proper context for HR to curtail speech is when the speech is used in a way that promotes hate toward or the devaluation of a person or group based on religion, gender identity, ethnic or national origin. You know, like they do with white straight people. Especially men, you know, like they do with that. Men are treated like a second-class citizen now. White people are treated like they're less than because of the color of their skin. That's where we're getting, because they don't understand, because they hear some white people did some bad things a long time ago. And these little writers and this little clique of people that are coming around nowadays don't understand that, you know, yeah, we agree. We don't like those guys either. We're not on their side, right? We're not on the side of the people who owned other people because they were assholes and they were greedy little pricks and they didn't understand that it was the bad thing to do, right? They were not good people. Same thing with the guys that exterminated whole religious groups of people and whole races of people and everything else. These are not good people, and we get it. Right? You don't need to preach to us like we're 5 years old. Just because you guys are, it doesn't mean that the rest of us are. Grow up, Star Trek Discovery. Seriously, grow up. I'm tired of your crap. You're going to grow up. You're going to be good Star Trek. You're going to stop this garbage, and you're going to give me something that I look forward to, or else you're going to stop. Do you understand me, Star Trek? Here's where I get mad at Star Trek. I shouldn't be saying this to Star Trek. What the fuck? Is this like Barney the goddamn fucking dinosaur or something? I'm saying this to Star Trek. For crying out loud. The thing that used to be an ideal to look forward to and to live up to. It used to be the gold standard. Now it is that crap that I can get at a 7-Eleven and throw in the microwave. Do you understand, Star Trek? Right? The people watching this video do, because Star Trek Discovery writers sure as shit won't. CBS TV studio released a statement in response to Mosley's article. We are committed to supporting a workplace where employees feel free to express concerns and be little pussy, pathetic snitches who have to go around needing their fucking safe space like they're 5 fucking years old. Oh, that's not what they said, but that's the way they might as well. Feel free to express concerns where they feel free and comfortable performing their best work. Employees should feel free expressing concerns, but the expression of those concerns does not automatically make them policy. Feeling uncomfortable is not the same as being treated or threatened by language, right? Feeling uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. Well, fuck you then. If you're uncomfortable, go home. Quit your job if you're uncomfortable. You're a pussy little bitch and you shouldn't be writing Star Trek if you're uncomfortable. If you're uncomfortable, good. Then maybe you should learn something. Maybe you could learn something and why you're uncomfortable. Maybe you think about, hey, maybe that language is offensive. Maybe, Mr. Mosley felt uncomfortable hearing it. You think? It's probably some little white bitch who complained too. It's not the same thing as being threatened by the language. When HR neglects to take on the responsibility of making that distinction, they aren't encouraging the writer's best work, especially since artists are supposed to use the audience's discomfort to create effective art. Exactly. The story is not about racism, and no one, including Mosley, has claimed it is. Star Trek Discovery's writer's room includes among its admirably diverse staff 3 writers, 3 African Americans, 2 Asian Americans, a Native American, and a Latinx, and probably one little token white person who's offended. Probably. So they could, appear to be, I'm so sorry, I'm white. Let me go and be offended on behalf of you, right? That's probably what it is, right? The story is about scrutinizing inflexible policies for corporate convenience that result in curtailing the creative processes and stifling individual speech that is focused on healing, not harming, and our responsibility to protect the difference. And then he goes on, but yes, this is a really good read. Right? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, smart guy, and he's the one who wrote this, right? I am glad that people are speaking out against this nonsense, and I am proud that people are speaking out against this. So please share this video. Also, David Alan Grier, gotta love him. David Alan Grier, I promised it. So David Alan Grier says, breaking news! Actor-comedian David Alan Grier will be joining the writing staff of Star Trek Discovery. When asked to comment, this is obviously fake, right? Mr. Grier stated, I can't wait to work with them. Well, he'll say it better than I will. See, that's funny, right? And I can laugh at that. And I'm not like anti whatever group that you guys want to be. That's comedy, right? Tell me what you guys think in the comments section below. I am Mecha Random 42. Like, subscribe, share. Put this on the Star Trek Reddit where I will get banned immediately. Because that's the type of thing they do to people who are smarter than them. And I will see you guys later. Bye! Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!